I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't been putting in the work lately. No daily flashcards, no consistent reading. My study streak kind of fell off completely. It's bound to happen at some point. But language learning is a part of many of my new hobbies. And here's the weird thing. When I show up to my lessons, I'm still making progress. Today I want to share why I think that is and how you can use it to help build your language learning so strong that it keeps you going even when you can't give it 100%. Point number one, build a base that you can rely on. Most people only focus on short term progress, memorizing words for the next quiz or grinding Anki for the next week. And I really don't do any of that anymore. But a solid base isn't about short bursts. It's about creating enough familiarity with the language that even on a bad week, you're not starting over. For me, that base came from mainly focusing on listening and reading in the early stages. I spent months absorbing the rhythm, structure, feel of the language before I cared about speaking and speaking perfectly. Now, even if I slack, my brain still has a big enough language foundation to draw from, so I can still pick up a book and pick up words, listen to a video, pick out phrases. It's really all just about the patterns. And once you pick them up, it's really hard to lose. Um, it's pretty much your new baseline. Point number two, don't underestimate passive language learning. I think most of us underestimate how much passive exposure and what it could do for you. Even without heavy study, I kept Spanish in my life pretty much daily, listening to YouTube videos, overhearing conversations on the train or on the bus, and reading subtitles. It's not really like a structured study, but it keeps my brain marinated in the language so that the next language lesson doesn't feel foreign. The constant low level contact is why I can step back into a lesson and not feel lost while having my mind scattered or burnt out. Point number three, and I feel like this is the most important point, and we'll call it the lesson that proved it. So last week I showed up to my lesson thinking, man, this is gonna be pretty tough. Like I haven't done anything serious in days because I was in Albany visiting my sister, and I was just bracing myself for that awkward silence. You know, like when your tutor asks a good question and you just blank. But then something weird happened. He started asking me the usual, like, how's your day? And instead of freezing, the answer actually came out pretty natural. And I was like, tranquilo. It's not perfect, but hey, the start. And I could even understand him without feeling that panic in my chest. And like my brain was saying, relax, we got this today. Because this was my second ever language lesson. And then I ended up finding out how chill the guy is. Like he's super chill. He's like 32. He's like 10 years older than me, but he's been studying English for 20 years, and he still admits that he doesn't know as much as he'd like to. That was pretty comforting to me because here's someone who's been in the game for a decade, still learning, still improving, and he's not stressed about it. So why should I be? We didn't do anything crazy in that session, honestly. Like the Wi-Fi cut out at the end, so it's not exactly like as glamorous as you expect. But here's what did happen: we practiced building sentences from simple questions. Um, I realized that I had no problem translating like the individual words. That wasn't my weak spot. But what I really needed was practice turning those sentences, those words actually, into natural sentences on the fly, and that's when it clicked. This wasn't about cramming a bunch of grammar rules into my head overnight or doing some crazy 6 hour study sprint before the lesson. The reason I survived the off week was because of the base I've been building quietly over time. In the moment, you think the progress is about the big pushes, the 3 4 day language marathons, the intense, I'm going to learn this one specific language structure in 1 week. But that kind of progress is fragile. It's built on a weak base. You miss 1 week and everything falls apart. So the base, that's different. The base is what lets you show up on a bad day, still put sentences together, still keep the conversation flowing, even when the even when your headphones die halfway through. Which, by the way, charge your headphones because trying to keep a conversation going on when that happens, it sucks. Don't ask me how I know. But yeah, once you got the base, those off weeks aren't failures to me anymore. Just a part of life, the same way you eat, sleep, brush your teeth, And language learning shouldn't take any much more mental bandwidth than those things if you want to stay consistent. So you stop feeling guilty and you actually start feeling proud and repeat those actions that actually keep you learning. That's when the language stops feeling frustrating. It starts feeling like something that you own. If you've been feeling guilty about a slow week, just don't panic. You got to focus on building the kind of base that carries you when your energy dips. Keep the language in your life, even passively, and it'll surprise you how much it sticks. Make sure to watch the next video where I share how I prepare between lessons to keep that momentum going. It's a system I think anyone could copy, even if you're busy. Peace.